I get a pass, please? 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 115 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and do you feel like at this moment in your life, specifically in your daily routine, there might be a need for a referee? What do I mean by that? Do you feel like your free will is kind of a bit too free? Well, it definitely happens to me, and I would like to share with you one idea that I'm trying to implement that might be also maybe useful for you. And for now, it has been doing pretty well for me. I will explain to you the problems with it, but yeah. Before we start, let me just move this out of the way. It's always so complicated to make it stay where I want. And if you like the format, if you like the idea of the Shower Podcast, it's really, really appreciated if you could leave a like and a subscribe. It's just one click, but yeah, it really, really makes the difference. Having said that, what's this technique? Before explaining to you what you should actually do, I'd like to remind to you all a situation that I think we all have been into, or at least that you have seen in movies, or again, it's pretty common, where when you were in school, especially when you were little, you cannot just leave the classroom and go to the bathroom. You have to ask the teacher, and based on the rules of the class, if you're doing a foreign language, let's say class, for example, you have to ask in the specific language. Again, when I was, let's say, in Italy, if you were during the English lesson, you were like, excuse me, can I please go to the bathroom? And if you said it well, and if you actually, need it, but you would get a pass from your teacher. And there are, many implementations to this. There is the possibility of having actual physical tokens that are on the table. For example, when I used to do teaching in schools, I used to create these passes. I did 4 of them, 2 for boys, 2 for girls. And because again, those classes were quite big, you had to work with 40, 50, 60, even 100 students. So you couldn't always wait for just somebody to raise their hand and say, hey, can I go to the bathroom? You just would, they would need to come up to the desk and pick up the pass. If there were no passes, sorry, you have to either wait or go pick up the people that are in the bathroom. And this was creating a pretty good, let's say, balance, because you weren't anymore the one creating the rules. You weren't as the teacher that just said no, and you were like, very insert random bad word against the teacher. But you are able to create a democracy, let's say, between the students, where they have to kind of respect each other and, come back in time because someone else might need it. It wasn't always the best case, but overall, I think it's something that works. It works okay. The principle, though, is that there was a pass. You had something to do. You wanted to do something that was outside of the main activity you were doing. In this case, going to the bathroom, but it can be extended to anything. And you needed a pass in order to do it. So what I thought is that what I find myself during the day, when it happens a lot during my, let's say, spare moments, where I, let's say, have the possibility of doing whatever I want, with free will, I sometimes resort a bit too much to just binge watching either Twitch, YouTube, or let's say any kind of content that I might have in mind. The problem is that when you do that, the first time it's okay. When you do it 2 times, it's still okay. But the moment that you just resort to it and you just absolutely just, go with it, you are, yes, using your free will, but a bit too much. There is nobody checking you. There's no referee. There's not somebody telling you, yes, you can. And this creates, of course, a dilemma. What should I do? Should I just accept the fact that I cannot have really all that much self-control? Because again, you're not doing things that are harming you all that much. But at the same time, they kind of are, because you are removing, the free time that you have in order to do all the other things that you might have planned to do. So what you can do is that on a daily basis, you can create to yourself these passes. You just need a piece of paper and you can write anything on them. And you can decide if you want to make them general, maybe, depending on how much of a problem you have. But if you know that you have certain tasks that you resort back to, let's say that for my example, it would be just watching videos of whatever category. I could make on a single day, like a pass of, I don't know, you decide the total hour, let's say be 2 hours, and you create like tokens of 30 minutes. And when you feel like you want to, or maybe you just woke up, you're having coffee or you're having lunch break and you want to, use this pass, you go there and you take it. You take it, you set an alarm, 30 minutes, you do everything that you have to do, the time elapses, and you have consumed your pass. You can decide if you really wanted, if you're into the thing that you're watching, to just go grab the next token and continue. The problem is that if you use all your tokens, so if you take all 4 and you use the 2 hours, after this time elapses, well, no time, no more free time for you. And this is kind of good because it forces you, not so much that it forces you not to watch, because of course, given that free will exists, you can say, ignore this, let me continue. And you can do that. The thing is that you're adding a bit of friction. You're adding kind of a middle step where you are actively deciding to continue. And I think this is the most important bit, the moment that you're able to introduce these small steps where you are actively choosing, either in good faith or in bad faith, that's up to you, and depending how serious the problem is. But finding, let's say, techniques, in this case, it's one of the past, but this idea can be expanded to anything. But I'd like to, again, for today, use this example of the passes, where, again, you are able to customize your activities and your passes to whatever thing that you need to do. And again, for me, for now, it has worked quite well because, again, the problem that I have is not so much that I do it, is that I do it without thinking. The moment that I'm in the zone, the moment that I'm doing, time just flies and passes by. And yeah, that's not really great because you want to have somebody that just say, hey, stop. And when you're just by yourself and you don't have other things to do, it gets in the way. Because again, when you do home office, you can get a message, you have the task, that is good. You can solve it like that and, let's say you are brought back to your original task. But when you have a free day and you just roll with it, you don't have to go out, you don't have to do anything, it can become a problem. Let me know if if you give it a try. I think that it's definitely worth it. I will also let you know down the line if this thing works. My problem is that sometimes I forget about it, or I fake forget that I have this limit. But we'll see. Having said that, that is all for episode 115. Thank you very much for listening. If you like the concept and the idea, feel free to leave a like. And what else? As usual, stay consistent, stay resilient, and see you at the next one.